inky friends, it's Cindy Lynn with my Inky Fingers. Thank you so much for joining me today on my YouTube channel and blog for a July 2020 paper pumpkin alternative. Today, I'm going to show you how to make those postcards and how to mail those postcards. Now, this PDF I've got on my blog linked down below for free for you to download. I'm going to use the Tasteful Touches stamp set, and as you can see which one I pulled out there, I'm also going to use Timeless Tropical, and I'm going to use the Freezin' Friends dies. I can't link those yet because they're not available to you guys until August 4th. Real quick, I wanted to mention too that I do have a paper pumpkin subscription giveaway for my Canadian residents and an online free class all access pass for everyone else worldwide. Be sure to go and leave a comment as directed by the guidelines on my unboxing for the July 2020 paper pumpkin, and I will do a live drawing for the winners on Sunday on my Facebook group. So without further ado, all I'm doing here is this one. This one was a card front from the add-on, and I just trimmed it down. I put the measurements up there for you guys. And, you know, this just spoke to me. I felt beachy when I was looking at this with the night sky. I'm going to pull out my phone because, of course, I don't need it in there with this stamp. Hello, Cindy Lynn. But nevertheless, I'm going to stamp this 2 times because I don't think that was dark enough the first time. And then, as you see, I had that die lined out. Now, I laid the die there because that was the one from the Freezin' Friends, because I kind of wanted to give that little bit of texture, you know, to the sand. Just a little, you know, a little hill, a little mound of sand type thing. So I threw that firefly back in there just so I could line up the little sentiment. Now, the key to the postcards here, and I'm going to show you how to make these and laminate them all up and get that little back on there to send. But the key is you don't want too many layers. Like even the one layer, I'll show you when I do it. If you could find a way to just skip it and just stamp the actual fireflies, I'll get back to that in a sec. I want to point out here the silver, the dazzling diamonds, and the white embossing powder. If you mix those up, you can get pretty much the same as the old silvery, silvery, glittered silver. That's it. So I still have some retired glittered silver, but if you mix up those 3, and I'll type those all out on my blog for you, so don't worry if you missed it. You don't have to go back. You can click the link down below to my blog, and I have them all written there for you. But if you mix them up, excuse me, you'd probably be pretty close to what I've got here. So I chose to ink that up with my Versamark and then emboss it. Now I'm just going to lay the little firefly there because these little stars, I know they're like the North Star, but I wanted a lot of them here on my background because they're just so sparkly and pretty. And you know, I really struggle with these like non-dimensional multi-layer cards. Do you guys struggle with that? So I can't honestly say I've ever made a postcard and sent a postcard before. So I was really inspired by the postcards in the actual kit. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to get Todd to make me that awesome PDF. Thank you, Todd. So he did, and now we can mail some postcards. I'm super excited about it. So this one's pretty much almost done. All I'm going to do is come in now with that die. And that die is so versatile. I mean, you can use it for so many things. I just did a video as well. I'll link it up here for you guys where you can see how I made snow out of it. But I just lined it up and I cut it. Now I'm going to put that one to the side. Now this is the one that comes in the kit, and this is my postcard. And all these little elements all came in the July 2020 paper pumpkin kit as well. So I'm just going to glue this up with my multi-purpose liquid glue. I have it transferred to a different little container. It's easier for me to squeeze, so I'm not using anything special there. And then I'm going to grab my take your pick, and I'm just going to get all of these little stars that came in the kit, just lay them all out here. This one was so easy peasy. Now I kind of made a little bit, I wouldn't call it a goof up, but now that I'm looking at that embossing powder on here, I really wish I had gone with gold, and I'm going to show you how I made the gold as well for the next project. But if you find that, if you agree with me that's a little light there, go with the gold because that's really going to stand out. I thought the background was dark enough, but you know, I'm not terribly upset with it. So I'm still going to send this out. I actually addressed this one, and this was the one I laminated so I could show you guys. But I am going to add these little, I guess that's the little the what do you call it? The light stream from the shooting star. You know what I mean? Because it's not the star. It's kind of the light that the star leaves behind, the trail of light, right? So that was the little stamp that came in there too. So here, this one was inspired by someone in our Paper Pumpkin group. I'll put a picture up here. I loved where she went with this card. So I was like, I gotta case that. Thank you so much, Vicki. So this is my version of it, and I'm going to ink up that sprig there from the Tasteful Touches with some Versamark. And I cut out a lot of the heat embossing for you guys. I left it in the front, but I don't want to waste your time heating everything. You know how it's done. So now I wiped off the end of this because I just want the leaves part to kind of extend. I want the branch to come out a little further. So I'm just kind of being a little fussy with where I want that. Now this gold, all I did was there's a gold glitz glitter Stampin' Up used to have like 100,000 years ago. And I mixed that in with Stampin' Up gold, and that's what I got. Now, I did kind of clear up a little bit here. Sorry, my allergies are really bothering me today. But I did kind of clean up a little bit of the embossing powder there with my paintbrush, just so that it just looked clean, right? And I'm going to heat set that. Now, my twig didn't quite reach the edge of the card, so I went in with a Versamark marker, and it was a little thick. So I'm just removing some of that embossing powder there so it's nice and skinny, and then I heat set that. So I've got kind of my lights where I want them to hang off the tree. I loved that idea, Vicki. That was so cool. And then now I'm going to kind of lay where I want my little, I wanted to call them dragonflies because I've got Vicki on the brain and I saw one of her dragonfly cards, one of my fireflies. So I kind of have an idea where I want the sentiment to go. Now I'm thinking, I can't really use string here because it's a postcard and we want to laminate it. So I'm just going to draw my string in. So I went in with a pencil. I'm no Picasso. When it's perfect, it's not homemade anymore. The person who gets this isn't going to inspect it and go, what was she trying to draw here? I'm totally okay with drawing in my string. So I glued them all down and I just drew in just some teardrop shaped upside down tears, I guess they would be. Upside down, teardrop shaped string. I mean, look at that, done. So I don't know, that's kind of in my mind how I thought it would look. Would you do it differently? Let me know in the comments below what you would have done here, because, or if you do this card, join the Facebook group and post a picture, or over on the Paper Pumpkin group. I'll put links to both below, but I would love to see what you guys come up with. So I'm going to use some Versamark ink here, and I'm just going to stamp up this sentiment. And I love this, like, you light up my life thing with these little fireflies. Now I'm going to do a live Paper Pumpkin alternative on Sunday in my group, and I have got something special planned. I don't know if anybody's thought of this yet, but I thought of something. I thought of it weeks ago, and I had to order something from it, and it's taken a while because of the COVID, right? But that's okay. It's supposed to be here today. I keep looking out the window. I'm watching for that Amazon truck to show up. So here, now this is the PDF. So you want to cut it at 5.5 right down the center, and then cut it at 4 1/4. And you're going to have 4 pieces. Okay. So from here, we can trim them down afterward, but this is going to give you 4 perfect postcards. And these postcards stand up. I'm not getting all fussy and changing the back of the postcard. Nobody's going to care. They're going to read it and they're going to display it front side forward. So don't get too stressed out about which position the back is in. It's really not important. So the actual postcard, 3 5/16 by 3 5/16 by 5 3/16. I don't math. If you watch my channel, you know I don't math well. I literally had to count ticks and calculate and conversion and like make sure I looked at my graph properly that Todd made me. I always struggled with this one, but the postcard was a little different shape. So you cut that square, and then if you got any little corners peeking out, just kind of trim those off with your snips. And I mean, that one's ready to go. I'm just going to put the block on it and make sure that it all gets nice and adhered. I don't go too crazy with the glue either, because you know what? We're laminating these. I just put enough glue to make sure everything held together to get it in the laminating pockets, right? So these ones here, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, because those are the card fronts that I cut off of the add-ons. So I'm just trimming a little from one side and a little from the other side, just to kind of try and keep the actual postcard printed part there, you know, kind of centered, right? So I'm just playing with it to make sure that my final result is the measurement there. And all the measurements will also be on my blog for you guys, as well as all the extra supplies I use. So don't stress, you don't have to rewind. You can always hop over to my blog and find all of the information there. So now I'm just going to glue this down. Now, had this have been a card, I would have put dimensionals behind there and popped that up. That would look so cool, but no, whatever, it's okay. It's a postcard. We're trying to keep it flat. Now, here's the laminating pouches. I love these. These are the Amazon brand, and I will link them down below for you guys, but you can fit 4 different postcards right in these. I mean, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, go to town. Now, I'm not going to do all 4. I only addressed this one because of the tutorial. Otherwise, I would have stored them in my stash and hoarded them. But I had a half sheet already, so I just pulled that out and just trimmed it up so that I didn't have to waste a full sheet. So it just covered my little address there. Now, here's that important point. Do not put your stamp inside. Your stamp must go on the top because it has to be cancelable. If it's not cancelable, they will not send it. Now, I'm going to do a quick freeze frame here. I came back. I was watching this video doing my voiceover, and I felt like I missed 2 very important things. First thing is, I did pull out my laminator and I did laminate this on screen for you guys, but I didn't hit record. So it's really simple. You just put it in your laminator. I ran it through a couple times. Now, you will not get a 100% flat lamination around any dimension you've put on your card or your postcard. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. There will be a little space around it, but I don't think it's a big deal. I don't mind the way it looks. I can't really show you on the pictures because it just doesn't really come out. But you know what? I don't worry too much about it. There you go. Easy peasy. Let me know what you think of those postcards. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. And until I see you again, take care and happy stamping!